I used to think that the stroke recovery journey was like riding a roller coaster because it has so many ups and downs and twists and turns. I no longer think that anymore because with a roller coaster, the ride ends and it's done and you get off. Another thing is you chose to get on that roller coaster. You wanted to be on that ride. Well, for us, on this stroke survivor journey, we did not want this, we did not choose this, and we still don't want to be on this ride. And with the stroke survivor journey, there is always progress. However, the journey does not end. Welcome back to this channel where we talk about stroke recovery, life after stroke, and living with invisible disabilities. We started this channel prepared to share the good, the bad, the ugly, and right now, in this moment, we are still in the thick of the ugly. I uploaded a video earlier this week describing the events of the medical emergency that landed us back in the ER at Langley Hospital. Now, this is a follow-up to that. That video was the first video we've made since we started YouTube where we were documenting things in real time. And I needed to do that just so that I can process and get my words out and just to start the healing journey for me. And first of all, before I go any further, I just want to say thank you to everyone for your incredible support, your messages of encouragement, your prayers, your love, just both virtually and physically. And we felt that support, and we know that is what sustained us this past week. Now, to give you an update on how we're doing, how we're really doing, I just wanted to share a few things. Now, in terms of my husband, well, before I go into that, let me just give you a brief recap as to what happened last Friday, so about 8 days ago. My husband was home alone. When I came, he was unconscious. I thought he was having a second stroke. We rushed to the ER. I called an ambulance. We rushed to the ER. He was taken into CT right away. And they believed that it was a seizure, not a stroke. But we still needed to do a few more tests, like an MRI and an EEG. So they gave us seizure medication at the ER, but they said they can't give us an MRI and EEG from the ER. It needs to be given on an outpatient basis, and then we were sent home. So that's a really brief recap. And I just want to bring you up to speed on what this week was like for us. Not gonna lie, it was really, really hard. So medically speaking, my husband is now on the anti-seizure medication, Keppra, which is a common medication that people with seizures take. He's having a very, very difficult time with it. We understand that there are side effects such as dizziness and drowsiness and fatigue, but it's really hit him hard. He has this, I don't know, like a brain fog. It's hard for him to focus. He's just slow to react, slow to understand, and just this, it's definitely affected his mood as well. And he's been sleeping a lot, which is a good sign because his brain needs to heal from the trauma of the seizure. So that's to be expected. And we're really hoping and praying that he will adjust to this medication as soon as possible so that he can just, he can get his life back, because this part has been very, very difficult for him. On Monday, I had an appointment with our family doctor. She called to follow up and check in because she heard that my husband was in the ER, and that was just amazing. She contacted us while we were still in the ER. So she got the message real quick and she took action right away. So thankful for that. It's one less thing for me to do, to have to reach out to her and make an appointment. On Wednesday morning, we had our MRI, and I was just so amazed surprised but not surprised, because I had asked a lot of people to pray for us that we would get our MRI and EEG appointments as soon as possible. So on Tuesday morning, when Langley Hospital called me, I was so happy. But I wasn't surprised, because I've experienced over and over again the power of prayer. And this is what happens when people pray specifically for your family. So I was so thankful for that. They said, "Can you come in tomorrow morning?" I said, "Absolutely, we will be there." And here's the thing: I told the doctor and the nurse at the ER that we will go to any hospital. We want the first available appointment. It doesn't have to be at this hospital. We will go anywhere. But deep down inside, I wanted to go back to Langley Hospital. That's our home base. That's where I feel the most comfortable. So when I said, "Yeah, Wednesday morning we'll be there, where should we go?" And she said, "Come to Langley Hospital." I was like, this is like the icing on the cake. I was so happy. We went on Wednesday morning. Everything went so smoothly. It was super fast. Everyone was super kind to us, and we were just in and out real quick. And yesterday, I had an appointment with our family doctor to discuss the MRI. So the good news, the good news is it's not a stroke. But as we were expecting, it is a seizure. But we still need to do an EEG. Now, the EEG was a little bit harder to book. I found out which hospital they referred us to. It's also a hospital that I'm very comfortable and familiar with, so I'm happy about that, but I needed to get an appointment. I called, left a message. The next day, I called again, left another message. I just wanted them to know that we are very anxious to get our appointment in and put us on a cancellation list. So if anyone cancels at the last minute, call us, because we will be there in 30 minutes. So I finally got a hold of someone at the EEG, and she booked us in right away. So on Tuesday, we will go get our EEG. We're still waiting for our neurologist appointment, but I am hopeful that will come very soon as well. So that's where we are medically. We are trying to adjust to the meds. We are trying to sleep and get as much rest as possible, and understand that this is the process that we need to go through. And I know that the MRI and the EEG may not give us all the answers that we're looking for, but we are one step closer to figuring out the next plan and to figure out the next steps. So for that reason, I am very hopeful. As far as how we are doing emotionally, that's a lot harder. And I wish I could just explain it very neatly, but I can't. I wish there was a scan that we can do, like an MRI or something, to kind of help pinpoint how we're feeling, but there's nothing like that. It just requires a lot of soul searching, a lot of processing, and a lot of just dealing through the various emotions. So our family hibernated all weekend, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and all of Monday. We just stayed home and we just did what we could to feel better. On Tuesday, I thought I should take a shower and I should go to work. And I did. And I was so proud of myself. So on Tuesday, my oldest two kids, Jennifer and Justin, they stayed home with their dad. And I went to work. And my youngest daughter, she knew that I was feeling really nervous about leaving and going to work. So she came with me. She woke up early. She came with me and she just studied in my office for a couple of hours until my coworker came. And when my coworker came, she knew that I wouldn't be alone, and then she left soon after that. I didn't know how I would be at work. My goal was just to take a shower and just show up. And I surprised myself. I lasted about 7 hours of the day, and after the 7th hour, I was done. I couldn't finish off the day. So I just packed up and I left. And as soon as I got into the car, I just burst into tears. And this really shocked me because I didn't even know that I had to cry or wanted to cry because I've been crying all weekend. And it just came out of nowhere. And so I cried all the way home as I was driving home. Thankfully, it's a short drive. And I cried as I came into the door, cried as I made my way upstairs to my bedroom, and I cried as I crawled into bed. My husband was taking a nap at the time, and I just crawled into bed and I just wept some more. And then a few minutes after that, my friend called me, or my friend texted me and said, let's meet on Zoom. So we spent like over an hour just talking and sharing and processing and just praying for one another. And what she said to me was this. She said, Esther, already in your story, I see so many reasons to thank God already. So when we went to the MRI on Wednesday, I took my journal with me because I wanted to write those things down, those specific details and incidents that happened on that day that are not an accident, but that was God just watching over me and protecting our family. And I wanted to write them down, so I will read them out loud to you. The first one was, I'm so thankful that Joshua was home when this happened, that he didn't have a seizure while he was out for a walk or on the bus or somewhere else. I wouldn't be able to find him. So I'm so thankful that he was home. I'm thankful that his cell phone was downstairs. We don't have a landline, so we only use cell phones. And sometimes he forgets to bring it downstairs and he leaves it upstairs in the bedroom. Now, if this had happened and he needed the phone, he would not have had the strength to make it all the way upstairs. But he had the phone downstairs with him, and for that, we are so thankful. We're thankful that Joshua had, the physical strength, but also the mental clarity to call me as soon as he felt unwell. And he passed out right after we hung up the phone. So that was the last thing he did before he passed out and collapsed on the couch. And my husband has aphasia, which is a communication disorder. So although he knows what he wants to say, he can't always say it. He mixes up his words, his names, and sometimes he can't even find the words that he wants to say. But he had very clear speech, and it was the perfect sentence. He said, Esther, I feel weird, my right side. And I knew that's all I needed to know. So for him to be able to push out that exact sentence, it's a miracle. So thankful for that. And also from my point of view, at the time, I was at work and I was standing up and I had my phone in my hand. I never have my phone in my hand. I just leave it at my desk. But I was standing there and I had my phone in my hand. I was startled to see that my husband had called, and I picked it up on the first ring. I'm also thankful that I knew exactly what I need to do, that I just got in my car, started driving, I called 911. Like I didn't even try to, what's wrong? Can you explain to me what's wrong? How are you feeling? None of that. Just get in the car, call 911 and go home. So thankful that I had the clarity to do what I needed to do. And then I got home safely. The paramedics arrived soon after. I mentioned this in the first video that we had the best of the best paramedics. So thankful for that. And after they arrived, I called all three of my kids. And the fact that all three of them picked up my phone right away, I am so very thankful for that. And they were all close by. Jennifer was on her way home. Bethany was at a nearby coffee shop studying with friends. Justin, he was on the other side of the bridge. He was in New Westminster, but for him to get from New Westminster to Langley that quickly on a Friday afternoon when there is so much traffic down here. That in itself, I am so thankful. And that he not only arrived quickly, but he arrived safely, because you can imagine how emotionally distraught he was as he was driving home. And for my girls to get to the hospital so quickly and safely, I'm so thankful for that. I mentioned the paramedics, but we had an incredible Nurse David, and the ER doctor at the time, Dr. Patrick. He was so good to us. One thing that I don't know if a lot of people who don't live in Vancouver are aware of, but on that day, on that Friday, we had uh, an earthquake here in Vancouver with an initial magnitude of 5.1, and it happened at 1:26 p.m. At that time, we were all together, safe in the hospital. Now, I don't know where this earthquake fits in the story or where this came from. It was just, to me, it was just out of the blue. But knowing that something so dramatic had happened in this city, knowing that we were all together and safe, I look back on that and I am so thankful for that. I'm not trying to say that this has been easy for us. It's been incredibly hard. But I need to do things and be very intentional about finding the good and finding what I am grateful for, because there is always something to be grateful for, even when you're in the mess. Sometimes it's harder to find it or realize it, and it's even harder to say it or to even write it down. But I was so proud of myself for looking for and searching and declaring all of these things that we just thank God for protecting our family the way that He did. But in terms of processing and healing, that is still a work in progress. This definitely is a lot more difficult for me to accept and wrap my head around and move on from. And I was thinking, why is this so hard? If I survived the initial stroke and all the trauma associated with that, why is this one so much harder for me? And then I realized, well, I didn't fully process or heal from the initial trauma, because at the beginning, my body was just in complete shock and I was running on adrenaline for many months. And it wasn't until maybe 6 or 9 months after, when things started to get stable and my husband started to really show progress, that I started going downhill. That's when the shock wears off, the adrenaline wears off, and that's when I start to feel everything, and it hurts. So trauma is not something that happens on the spot. It's the event that happens. But trauma is what you feel afterwards. And there are so many layers when it comes to healing. So even if you work so hard to process that one thin layer and you peel it off and you put it away, there's still another layer. And once you get rid of that, there's another layer and another layer and another layer. So it is exhausting and it is hard work. And you can't get through this without intentionality and hard work and focus. So that's where I am. And I realized it's because I haven't processed or healed from the initial trauma. So it's just like trauma upon trauma upon trauma. That's where I am right now. But I have some systems in place, and I have, and I'll share this. I'll share this hopefully within a few weeks in the coming videos about what systems we've put in place within the home and our family to safeguard against another situation, or so that we're better prepared for if this situation like this happens again. And also what systems that we've put in place for us to heal and to move forward from that. So that's where we are right now. And I wanted to leave on a positive note. And I'm going to add a video to the very end of this. It's a clip that we took while we were in the ER. And during that time, there were moments of pure despair and brokenness and sadness. But in the middle of that, there were so many moments of joy and gladness and laughter in that room. So, another example that joy and pain do coexist, and you can't really experience one without the other. So, this is a little thing that we just did impromptu at the ER. I just want to say that because of my husband's aphasia, he gets our names, our family names, my kids' names, he gets them mixed up all the time. So this video is for you. Hopefully it will bring a smile to your face, and I will try to update as I can. Thank you so much for your prayers, but we ask for your continued prayers for the next leg of this journey. Honey, who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
Honey. Jennifer.
Jennifer?
No.
Not
That,
not Jennifer?
Jennifer. 생각이 안 나.
Can you point?
No.
Point your finger.
Esther.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm your favorite. I'm your favorite.
Yes.
Can you high five?